Hi, this is Brett Copes here. Don't mind my corporate haircut, but we did a couple of things in our second bullwhip class, our advanced bullwhip class. First half of the class, we worked on wrapping your partner. Wrapping your partner, the key to it, you want to throw your bullwhip, sliding your arm along the table, squeegeeing off the water with your table so it flies at a nice horizontal level past your partner, dissipating the energy past them, and then as it gently wraps around them on the way back. Looks a little bit like this. I throw it past and it wraps around on the way back. Nice and gentle. You can unwrap it one more time, throwing past her, letting it gently wrap around. We'll do that I'll do it from the back side so you can see it. The reason we don't want to bring a lot of sideways force into it is as the bullwhip wraps around your partner or whatever it is you're wrapping, it begins to pick up speed, and if it wraps around far enough, that's going to create a pop and it's going to hurt your partner. For this one, I use a little bit of a longer whip. Wraps are easier with a longer whip, and I'm trying to go from the second half of the bullwhip, the tail end of the bullwhip, to use for my wrap. So you can see it a little bit better this way. I'm going to throw the whip past her, and as it gently wraps around when it's done. Here we go. Hup. You get a little pop at the end maybe, but it's not so important that you get a big crack out of it. It's more important you control where the wrap goes. That's the basic one of that. We used a couple variations, and then we did one with the Circus Crack on the arm for a target that's more left and right in your plane of vision. So it looks a little bit like this. I want to do my Circus Crack above and past her hand, and then as it gently wraps around on the way down, looks like this. Do it one more time. Here we go. Hup. Okay, throwing it above and past. Next thing we did is we worked on targets. For this is where you get to use your shorter whip a little bit more. And we worked on targets. I wanted to make sure when I'm working on targets that if I'm throwing the whip with my right hand and the whip is curling on the outside of the right part of the whip, that I want to be working from right to left. Okay? That way the whip has always got to cross itself before it ever gets to your partner to hurt them. So more than likely, until you get better at it, you're going to work with your right side, right-handed, moving right to left. I'm going to prep the whip on the outside of the target area, and then like the hands on a clock, I'm going to tick-tock in a little bit to come into range. So I do 2 practice cracks on the outside. Just a general circus crack, doesn't matter how hard it is, pushing the whip out as far away from me as possible. 3rd crack, break the target. You don't have to hit the target near the hand, you just want to hit it anywhere along the target. We'll do it one more time. 2 practice cracks and then we'll do the target. Right? We worked on a variation of this with our partner holding the targets in various positions. Lisa's going to do it one more time, and I'm going to do it in this direction so you can see it from the camera. Where the whip's on the outside of the target, and it's going to move into position. That's good. Outside of the target, moves into position. Breaks the target. Good. So we say goodbye to Lisa. The last couple of things we worked on with the targeting is we worked on self-held targets. A lot of it came from the Circus Crack. Same Circus Crack we've always used. Instead, I just take the target in my own hand and place it in the path of the flying bullwhip. This is the over the shoulder. It's the beginning one. And then there's variations after this. So we've got over the shoulder. Same Circus Crack. All I'm doing is taking the target, placing it in the path of the target. This crack is the same. Now I do this. From there you can do behind the back. I like to use spaghetti because it breaks really easily, and if you ever get hungry, you've got a snack. So same variation, same Circus Crack is behind the back here. We've got another version of it which is held in the same hand as throwing the bullwhip. Again, just placing a target in the path of the whip, making your Circus Crack exactly the same as you usually do. Show it to the audience, finish looking cool. So we did a bunch of stuff with targets. You played with your partner with your targets, making sure the whip's on the outside of their body, moving into range for the target itself. Last thing we did was the newspaper trick, which creates a big mess, but is a ton of fun. So Lisa's going to come hold the newspaper. The only difference between this and the other target cracking that we just did is that instead of cracking on the outside of the newspaper, I'm actually cracking in front of it, and then I'm going to lead my body in or take half of a step to come into range for it. So it looks a little bit more like this. So I'm going to practice crack outside of range I'm going to attempt to get my circus track to crack above the newspaper, and then as the fall falls down vertically, that's what breaks the target. So we're outside of range and into range. Lisa's going to hold it a little further out, but she can now use the other piece of the paper, and it becomes an entire, easy, cheesy routine. Okay, makes sense? So that's the kind of stuff you're going to work on. You're going to play with your partner, keeping the bullwhip away from their body and only trying to hit the target by reaching the whip out far away from you and keeping control of where it goes. Thanks a lot. Hope to see you guys next year.